Hi, my name is Christina Liano, and I want to welcome you to our online ritual to celebrate living the change. We are delighted that you are joining us for this joyous occasion to come together as an international interfaith movement to make changes towards sustainable living. I'm happy to be joined by colleagues from around the globe who share in this commitment, and I invite them at this time to introduce themselves.
I'm Fletcher Harper. I'm an Episcopal priest, and I'm with Green Faith, an interfaith environmental organization.
I'm Nana Furman. I'm in California with the Global Muslim Climate Network.
My name is Kristen Barker. I practice Vipassana in the Insight tradition of Buddhism. I'm the co-founder of One Earth Sangha here in Washington, D.C.
My name is Gopal Patel. I'm from London, England, but currently living in New York City. And I run a Hindu environmental initiative called the Bhumi Project.
And I'm Philippa Rowland in Adelaide. I'm a Mahayana Buddhist and the president of the Multi-Faith Association of South Australia.
And I am a Roman Catholic working with the Global Catholic Climate Movement. In this time together, we have the opportunity to align ourselves with our deepest faith values and strengthen our commitment of our responsibility to care for each other and our wider world. Before we begin, we invite you to have paper and pen ready so you can write down your own thoughts, feelings, and commitments. Let us now ground ourselves by connecting with the breath, inviting awareness and gratitude for being alive in this moment, this lifetime, on this precious earth. Let us take a moment to reflect on the gift of our common home.
In this, the ritual time of sharing, we will take 3 moments of deepening our journey together. These moments in sequence will be a spiritual grounding, a reflection on our potential to change, and a time for commitment. To begin with our collective spiritual grounding, we'd like to invite you to reflect on these questions. What inspires you? What guidance and motivation do you find in your faith and your spiritual tradition? And what do these guidances inform you in terms of your choices that you make in your own life? Here are some quotes drawn from our different world traditions and universal statements about our human condition and the interconnectedness with all life. And we hope that these may resonate with you. Please note, these are only a small sample of the rich offerings that you will be able to find on the Living the Change website. We begin with Nana.
From the Holy Quran, Surah Al-Furqan, chapter 25, verse 63. Auzubillahiminasyaitanirrajim. Wa ibadur rahmanil yamshuna alal ardi hauna wa idza qatabahumul jahiluna qalu salama. Sadaqallahu adzim. And the servants of the most merciful are those who walk upon the earth gently. And when the ignorant address them harshly, they say words of peace.
From the Buddhist tradition, Dharma teacher Catherine McGee asks, what would it mean for you to live your life as if you really knew, in the depth of your heart and yourselves, that you are not separate from this earth and all of Earth's being?
The Rig Veda is the oldest Hindu text, and within there are 63 verses in praise of Mother Earth, known as the Bhumi Shukta. One of those verses sums up the Hindu worldview and approach to environmental care. It is one line, and it is this: "The earth is my mother, and I am her child."
From Pope Francis's encyclical, Laudato Si. There is a nobility in the duty to care for creation through little daily actions.
From the 2017 Interfaith Statement, Walk on Earth Gently. Let us pray and hope that we can come together in love for each other, those who suffer from climate change, future generations, and planet Earth. Let us commit to walk gently on the earth.
Hearing all these quotes and seeing a few more now on the screen, we'd like you now to reflect. What motivates you to take action in caring for our common home? Take a moment now to reach within, to reflect, and to write down your own thoughts on paper, for these will sustain you on your journey ahead.
Living the Change is a multi-faith global initiative to encourage and support people of diverse faiths and spiritualities to protect the earth and to live sustainably. It was founded out of the recognition that an essential part of our spirituality is the way in which we consume and use resources, and that living in the age that we do with the threat posed by climate change and other ecological concerns, that it's a deeply good thing to do to think about how to change our behavior to respect the earth, that primordial gift. As we thought about how to approach this task, we realized that we wanted the behavior changes that we encouraged people to consider to be changes that would make the greatest difference possible. Research shows clearly that in most contexts, 3 of our behaviors matter most. Transportation matters greatly. And in that area, it's our job to try to reduce dramatically our travel by car and by airplane. The way in which we use energy at home matters also. And by conserving energy, using greater energy efficiency, and by using and purchasing 100% renewable energy if we're not able to install renewable energy technologies ourselves, we can make a very significant contribution. And finally, diet. Shifting towards a primarily plant-based diet, using meat only for extremely special occasions, and reducing, if not eliminating, our waste of food. Research shows over and over again that if we want to make the biggest impact possible, these are the behaviors that we should focus on. And so that's what we've chosen to do. Now, we want to think for a moment, and again to ask you to dig deep within. Think about these three kinds of behaviors, these three behavioral areas. Think about what they mean to you. When it comes to transportation, for example, or food, or home energy use, why do you do the things that you do? What do you reflect on your relationship to these behaviors? Think about what you consume and rely on every single day. And I'd invite you to consider these questions. When it comes to food, what do we eat? Why is it that we take, what is it that we take in? Where does it come from? How do we understand the value of God's creation in this, to use a Christian frame? When it comes to energy use at home, what is energy? How do we take responsibility for our use of it? How do we use it carefully? When we think about transportation, how do we move? Why do we move? Why is that important to us? Let us reflect on our potential to change our own behavior and our lifestyles for the sake of the common good, for the well-being of future generations, and for the benefit of all. Let us reflect on our ability to commit to personal change in these high-impact behavior areas of food and energy and transportation, knowing deeply that by doing so, we make an important difference and we help to create and support a culture of life. To help us reflect, we'll now hear three personal examples that can inspire and excite us. I'd like to invite Nana to speak first about her commitment around food and her witness in that area.
I've been a pescatarian for more than 20 years, but during the Muslim Sacred Month this year, I embraced a meatless Ramadan practice for the whole month. And after that month, I have committed myself to consume local and organic food as much as I could while trying to embrace plant-based diet during my weekdays and only consume fish or seafood on weekends. And I'm also committing to reduce my food waste in my home and to do composting on all my food scraps and trying to grow my own food in my backyard.
We'll hear next about energy use from Kristen.
Well, mindful of the miraculous clean energy now available to us directly from sun and wind, and of the spiritual nourishment of turning on a light that is powered without harming beings, I am committing to working with my condo association to install rooftop solar on our buildings and structure this, hopefully, as a community solar project that will equitably share the benefits with our low-income neighbors here in DC. I'm vice president of the association, so I have political capital to spend on this project.
Gopal will share a witness on transportation.
6 months ago, I asked myself these questions with regards to transport. How do I move? Why do I move? And why is it important to me? And those questions raised interesting, exciting, and challenging answers that I'm keen to and happy to share with you. I realized that most of my travel is for work, but there was also personal travel involved as well, like everyone. So I've committed to continue using public transportation as much as possible for going to work and for personal use. I currently don't have access to a car, and I want to stay true to that. When I do need to drive, I'm looking to car share as much as possible with colleagues and friends. And when I do need to fly, I'm working with the institutions which I'm associated professionally to develop flight policies where we can offset the carbon or offer something beneficial to the community or the group to which we're flying to. I'm also committing to have more Zoom conferences, like using this platform we are today, to cut down on my flight as well. I recognized that it was important when developing a travel policy for myself that I needed to be a blessing to the earth, to reciprocate with the love and the gifts that Mother Earth gives me. So those are my travel policies.
Thank you, Gopal. We would like you now to be invited to make your own commitment. But before you do, just consider these few questions. In which areas of your life do you want to make changes? And in which areas do you think you can make meaningful commitments? We'd like to encourage you to have big thoughts. We invite you to consider making real changes in your own lives. But remember, it's your choice. Recognize that these voluntary changes we make are in fact a generous gift that you are donating to your own life and also to the future of the wider world. So take a moment now to write down your commitments to living the change. To make them more concrete, maybe consider writing down, what can I commit to doing in the next 2 days? What is it that I might be able to commit to doing in the next 2 weeks? And what are those bigger, more difficult changes that I might be able to reflect upon and move towards implementing and achieve in the next few months or even the next year? We all on this call recognize that it's no small issue to make a personal commitment, and we honor you for being here and for making time to reflect and to consider the changes that you may be able to make in your own life. So pause for a moment with your pen and your paper, and on the screen in front of you now, you'll see the list of commitments that are offered on the Living the Change website. This is an opportunity for you to reflect on changes you can make in your own life. Thank you.
we now celebrate your commitment. We're grateful that you're joining us as a global community that's willing to make a change, and we honor the changes that you're willing to make with us. For those of you who are in reach of devices connected to the internet, we invite you now to go to the Living the Change website and make your commitment. In the top right-hand corner, you will see an orange box with windmills and bicycles where it says, "Make my commitment." When you make your commitment on the online platform, you're joining your contribution to those around the globe that over time will create massive movement for change. So let us go forward, encouraged to celebrate and share our joyful determination to work together towards a flourishing world. Thank you for being with us during this ritual, and we invite you to continue to connect with us through Living the Change.